Today on the Dr. Oz Show, the bizarre body quirks that leave you wondering, am I weird or should I be worried?
Is this weird? Should I be worried?
From rashes to leaking.
When I orgasm, I pee.
Your strangest questions ever.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
Mysterious conditions.
I suddenly lost my sense of smell.
Unexpected causes.
These pops can get enormous. We have to keep going.
Your puzzling body problems solved. Next.
Now listen, we have discussed some pretty weird things on this show, but nothing like what you're all going to see today. So get comfortable. That's right, we're getting to the bottom of your body's most bizarre behavior. From unusual rashes to strange leaking to your body's oddest quirks. We're going to tell you what's just weird and how to know when to worry. Now, to hear the weirdest questions you had, I headed to one of the strangest places that I could find.
Everyone's got a quirky health concern, but what's just weird and what's really worth worrying about?
What better place to gather your questions than Ripley's Believe It or Not here in New York City? Hey, it's Abracadabra.
Dr. Oz, quick question before you go in the museum. Is it weird that I take a nail and a hammer, hammering the nail into my face?
Oh my goodness.
Is it weird that that doesn't bother me?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Have fun inside.
Thanks, Albert.
Dr. Oz, I have a question. Whenever I go to the bathroom, my eyes water. Should I be worried?
No. It's weird, but it's nothing to worry about. Turns out the bladder has the same nerves that go to other parts of your body. So your eyes will water.
Dr. Oz, every time I drink red wine, I get flushed and short of breath. Is this weird?
Don't worry about it. You know, when we drink wine, it actually releases chemicals in our body. All our blood vessels get larger. Happens in a lot of women.
Dr. Oz, 2 weeks before my cycle comes on, I experience diarrhea. Should I be worried?
No, that's weird, but nothing to worry about. You know what happens is all those hormones, the nerves that get your uterus to contract, they also make your bowel contract. That's okay.
Is this weird? Is that weird? Is this weird, or should I be worried?
Ladies, we're going to continue the conversation in the studio. I'll see you there. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. Maureen's up first. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Dr. Oz.
So what's worrying you?
Well, Dr. Oz, when I'm having sex and when I orgasm, I pee. Is it something I should worry about?
So when you orgasm, you pee, so you actually see urine coming out?
Yes.
All right, so that's the truth tube. Does peeing during sex, is that weird or something that we have to worry about? And the answer is, it's just weird. Now, this is not a rare question. I applaud you for asking it because I've been asked it a lot of times. So I'm going to explain to you what we think is happening down there, all right? But you can help me do it.
Okay.
All right, so come over here. So this is exactly what's going on inside your body. You've got your bladder, obviously, and you've got the pelvic floor, and then, of course, the urine comes through this thing called the urethra. So hold the end of that thing up there and just step out over here like this. Hold it like this, okay?
Okay.
Now, and put your left hand over here. Now, I'm going to be the pelvic floor.
Okay.
Okay, so what ends up happening is normally the pelvic floor pulls tightly around your urethra and kinks it off. So the bladder, which has urine in it, can't push the urine through this urethra, and therefore it stays in you like it's supposed to, right? But sometimes, as you get older, this pelvic floor begins to weaken. You have kids. Sometimes people put weight on, and the muscles that hold the urethra closed that are kicking it in the pelvic floor, they begin to loosen a little bit. And then, here's the culmination of the story for you. When you start having sex, these muscles, like all the other muscles down there, they begin to pulsate. And that pulsation starts slowly at first, and then more and more quickly and faster, quicker, and finally you reach an orgasm. And all of a sudden, it all starts to open up. Oh my goodness. What? Wait, hold it here.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Oh my God.
Now hold that for a second.
Okay.
Now, what's happened is you have opened up the pelvic floor, which is a good thing because I want you to have orgasms and I want you to be intimate with people you love. Mm-hmm. And the bladder, which is a little bit full, it starts to leak out. And it can leak for a while.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Why were you apologizing to me?
What I did. I spilled all over the place.
No, but I'm saying, well, you shouldn't apologize if it happens to you during sex either. Because it's a
Okay.
normal part of what's going on in your
It's
body.
embarrassing.
I know it's embarrassing, which is why, of course, you're asking the questions. I've got 2 tips for you. The first is, you ought to empty your bladder out before you get intimate. You should probably do that anyway. I know we always say to do it afterwards to help just wash things out.
Okay.
But especially if you have a pelvic floor, which gets weak in a lot of people, empty the bladder out so it won't leak out.
Okay.
And then this is really a place that's worth doing Kegel exercises. Because, and you know, you got to train yourself. And if you're really having issues with it, just, you know, you can work with a professional even. There's a physical therapy for that. But I don't want you being embarrassed about it.
Okay.
Because not having sex is a much worse problem than peeing when you're having sex. Fair enough?
Okay,
All
fair.
right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Oz.
Okay, you got this way. All right, let's get to our next question. Joining me is Dana. How are you, Dana?
Okay, how are you?
So what's bothering you? What's your worry?
About 3 years ago, I suddenly lost my sense of smell. I also lost my sense of taste. And should I be worried about this?
Losing sense of smell and losing sense of taste. All right, so we're going to all find out, is this weird or something you really have to worry about? And the answer is, you got to worry. Yeah, someone set it up there. This is a really important thing to notice. So there's one possibility that I got to bring up, it's very common, is that it's very common for folks with allergies. So I point out allergies because sinus congestion usually only lasts for about a month or 2, right? When the sinuses recover, then your sense of smell should get better, unless something else is causing it up there. And there's one big reason. It's because if we think about the nose, and come over here and I'll walk you through this, as this sort of red area here. Now, we are, you and me, sense. So I'll put the sense on you. If we play the smell, right, like this, then we as sense have to travel through the nose. So anything that's chronically changing what that pattern looks like can influence us. Normally, sense walk through the nasal pathway like this, all the way up to the brain. See how big the brain is? The brain has all kinds of tentacles up there, but only a couple come down to the top of the nose. And we can touch the brain, and we give our sense, our chemical sense, into the brain. Now, come on back here for a second. Unfortunately, if you've had chronic issues with your nasal cavity, you will start to, especially with severe allergies, you'll actually change that lining. It'll get thicker and nasal polyps form. Now, those polyps are often small, they're all over the place, they're hidden, but sometimes these polyps, well, frankly, they can get, even as we're heading up towards the brain, these polyps can get enormous, an enormous polyp. And we still have to go there, right? And those, they're not funny nasal polyps. They don't laugh. They don't give you any feedback. They just get in the way. So we have to keep going. And we got to go through there. And you can't get through there. And then you got to go this way. And through here. And finally get knocked into the wall. Try to get around there. And you can't get there. And believe me, nasal polyps, they are just like sumo wrestlers. You're not getting to the brain.
I hope there's a sumo wrestler in my nose. But...
Yeah, no, you don't have a sumo wrestler in your nose, but it's something like that. So I don't know if you have polyps, but this is worth taking a look at. You see an ENT doctor, they're very well versed. They look up there real quickly. They can look a little deeper than I would normally look in the studio. They can see any little polyps that are in there, and some big ones.
Right.
And then under local anesthesia, they'll snip them out.
Wow, that's really good.
Fair enough.
I'm very excited, actually.
You stay here with the polyp. All right. And finally, Jennifer's joining us, and she's here with her husband, Chris, and there's something weird that you're worried about.
Yes. Well, Dr. Oz, my husband, Chris, he actually sleeps with his eyes open, which he's always done. But now our 15-month-old son, he also sleeps with his eyes open. It's kind of creepy.
All right. So I actually heard a little bit about this story. So you were kind enough to send us some footage.
Yeah.
This is some hidden camera footage from last night. Yes, is he even breathing? My goodness.
Yeah.
That is pretty eerie, isn't it?
Yeah.
So his eyes are open, and this is the part that actually got me very interested in this story. Your son, Christopher Jr.
Yes.
He's 15 months, as you mentioned. Here he is sleeping, and his eyes are open also. All right. You ready to find out if it's weird or something to worry about?
Yes.
All right. Let's ask. Weird or something to get worried about? It is just weird. It's weird. A couple things. First off, if you've had this most of your life, and I got to say, since Chris Jr. has it, it makes me believe that it's a genetic element. That means that it's probably something that you're going to carry through your life, and it's not a big deal. If, of course, anything that starts suddenly that's weird makes me more concerned that it's actually a deeper problem behind it. But I got news for you. There are over 4 million Americans who have the exact same thing you have. But there are some things that do concern me when it starts to occur suddenly. And I'm going to show you why it's one of the problems that I most associate with overactive thyroid. So come on over here. Bring Chris Jr. as well. So this is a quick animation that's going to show you how antibodies sometimes get from your body into the thyroid gland. And I'm going to get to the highs in a second. The thyroid gland has white cells, white blood cells, that can sometimes move their way through the blood vessels next to the gland. And they'll secrete chemicals that will attack the gland of the thyroid. Those glandular tissues will swell. The same thing happens behind the eye. When you have an irritation of the thyroid, the same white cells can also mistakenly begin to attack the tissue behind the eye, sending out chemicals. Now let's turn around the head, look inside behind the eye. There's soft tissue back there. Here's the globe of the eye. That soft tissue starts to get swollen, it can get scarred in, and it literally pushes your eyes forward like that. Many of you have seen that. It's called exophthalmos, but it means the globe is pushed forward. It's not a bigger eye. The eye is actually pushed forward by that tissue behind it, and the lids aren't big enough to close over it. All right, come over here, though. I got something else for you. Now, for anybody who has eyes that stay open when the lids don't close when you go to sleep, there are cool little things that you need to do about it. You still need to protect your eyes. One really cool idea is they have these things now that are called blinkies. They're eye weights, and they look like this, and you put them just on your upper eyelid, right? And they actually make your eyelid a little heavier, and so a doctor will prescribe them for you because they have to be fitted, and they come in different colors, and literally pulls the eyelid down when you fall asleep. And for Chris Jr., I'd use a humidifier.
Okay.
Just, you want to keep it moist in there for his eyes. He's a beautiful little boy.
Say thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, up next, weird rashes, lumps, and bumps. We are tackling your strangest skin conditions, so stay with us.